What's going on, guys? Welcome to the live stream. I haven't done a live stream in a little bit. I haven't really felt up to it, but I feel up to it today. So I'm really glad you guys are here in the studio. I hope the audio sounds okay. Someone please let me know in the comments below if it doesn't. And if you're watching this back, I hope you find something you enjoy. We typically try to do these Sunday evenings. But I'm just going to get straight to questions today. Benny Boom says hi. What's going on, Benny? Gina says hi. Hi, Michaela. Hi, Annie. Sound is good. Thank you. Trevor, hi. What up? Jen's Diamond Paintings and more. Hello. Can hear you fine. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Kyla Foster. Audio sounds good. Thank you, Kyla. Cherry Monster. Hello. Hey, Cherry. The show 78596. Sup, man, from Texas. Perfect. How's it going, man? Nathaniel Milet. Hey, Noah. What's going on, dude? Shannon Lehman, hi. Holly, hello. What's up, everybody? Adrian, hi. Santiago, Miara, MD, hi. Noah. What's going on, Santiago? I'm glad you're here. Castro, get some, baby. Perfect. Thomas Tyrell, tuning in from London. Crazy. What time is it, Thomas, in London? Do me a mitzvah. Mark N, have you ever felt guilty after relapsing? I did yesterday. Love you, bro. Yeah, of course, of course. If some of you guys may not know, but I'm sober, and as a sober person, trying to come back. Oh shoot, Annie, I accidentally deleted your comment. I meant to show it, but I deleted it. So Annie Linart, post that again, okay? Post that again. But anyway, yeah, definitely felt guilty after relapsing because I set intentions, but I don't follow through with them. So there's that cognitive dissonance, right? And then you feel terrible about yourself. In the past, I've usually, when I relapsed, I felt so bad about it that I just pivoted into a giant downward tailspin because I figured I already screwed up. And that's always like the trap of a relapse, is that you just feel confirmed that you're a screw up, and so you may as well keep screwing up. Anyway, Mark, hang in there and just know that today's a good day. It's a new day, and you can do it different. Guys, as far as this live stream goes, I have like an hour with you. I'm really, really glad you guys are here. Please leave ideas for the direction of this live stream. If you have questions that you happen to want to ask me, ask them, and I will address them, of course. If you want to support the channel and have your question put at the top, you can use the super chat function if you feel so inclined to. It's a great way to support the channel. It's wonderful. But otherwise, yeah, I hope we have a good time together, and just know that I appreciate you guys being here on a Sunday night with me. Let's see. Hugo Velasco says, hey man, how tall are you and how many pounds of fat do you have? Trying to somewhat compare. So I am 5'11". I weigh 200 on the dot right now, and I would guess that I have about 20 to 22 pounds of fat on me. Thomas Tyrell says, too late, 1:29 a.m. Glad you're doing good. It's late. Yeah, it's really late there. Holly Davidson, your videos to not give up from depression and anxiety really helped me. Thank you. I'm really glad to know they help you. I know that like when I was at my absolute worst, I think as much as I appreciated hard scientific literature and leadership and I appreciated the formal aspects of getting better, what I think wound up oftentimes being more valuable to me were the people and the constant reassurance from those who had gone before me. So stuff that had nothing to do with action plans and therapies and medications, timetables, statistics, things that like I would latch onto because I was trying to figure out how to get better. What ended up meaning a lot to me was hearing another person who had been through depression, anxiety, who'd been through addiction problems, just looking at me and saying, hey, you're gonna be okay, I've got you. And I think like we give up so often when we feel depressed and anxious. Like I don't know about you guys, but when I'm down, I think I give up like 1,000 times. I just get up 1,000 times plus one. So the need for positive presence, leadership, and all that stuff is really important. Anyway. John Fisher, a slightly drunken hello from North Wales, UK. You're still welcome here, John, that's for sure. Stay safe tonight. NV Nova says, how do you manage to stay sober? I just follow a game plan. That's it. There's nothing special about me. Certainly not when it comes to getting sober. I just, so help me God, I just try to follow a game plan. And for me, that's a 12-step game plan. But in general, I just suggest people follow some type of formal, actionable plan. AKA, do your best. Do your absolute best not to leave your being sober in only your hands. I think that's where a lot of people get in trouble. So if leadership can come in the form, leadership can come in the form of books, it can come in the form of online support, formal recovery programs, which there are many. But I just think it's best to not do it alone, and that's how I stay sober. For today, I just have like a game plan, and I stick to it at all costs. Dina, where'd you go? Ooh, I see a super chat, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Thank you so much. Let me just answer Dina's question. Dina says, me too. Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. We have a super chat from Edwin Rashidi. I love you, man. No homo at all. Well, trust me. Hey, going forward, any of you guys who ever say I love you, dude, like I love you too. I have love for all of you. You don't have to add the no homo thing. I don't take it that way, nor is that any of my business, quite frankly. But I get what you're saying, and I'm definitely someone who just, there are men in my life that are so important to me and so meaningful to me, who I will happily let them know that I love them. I just think that's important. I want to be one of those guys who openly lets other dudes know that I care about them. So Edwin, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm sending love right back to you, boss. Annie, and thank you for the super chat. That's really kind of you as well. Annie Lennart says, have you started the book I recommended, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck? No, so I did get that recommendation, guys. Reading is a huge part of my life now. I never thought I'd say that. I've always been one of those people that said he was going to be a reader and then never became a reader. But I read all the time now, every morning. I read. It's just my list of books to read. It's getting really long, and I'm not going to just jump from book to book to book to book. I'm going to really try to dive in deeply into whatever book I'm on, and then review it, and then make sure that I'm not just reading a book and putting it aside for the sake of being done with it, but figuring out ways to like implement it. That's the trick. That's certainly been the battle and the trick for me. So no, and I haven't read that yet, but it is 100% on my radar. It's in my list. Benny Boom says, tried Phenibut twice this week and made me felt good during the day, but so spaced out in the evening. I don't think I will keep using for my anxiety, just FYI. Okay, I think I know what you were saying there. But yeah, hey, do it. It's best for you. Marin W, 1:30 here. I'm dealing with a demanding client. I set boundaries, telling him I can't reply to his messages as often as he would like, but confronting him was so hard and awkward. Yeah, it's really tough being direct with people, and in confrontation in general, no one really appreciates doing it. No one's happy to be confrontational. It's not a natural human thing, in my opinion. And so what I think, like what I try to do when I need to set boundaries with someone is just make sure that I communicate clearly. I use like a 5-point communication system, and I try to be respectful but like practical. But it's definitely difficult, and it's definitely important, really important. Joe Smith says, hey bro, what's up? First time on here, 5 days sober. Joe, welcome. What's up? Right back to you, boss. And congrats on 5 days sober. That first week or two, that was the craziest time for me, for sure. So good for you for that. If being sober is your intention, I hope you can stay that way. And we have 67 people kicking it with us right now. That's wonderful. Thank you for being here. I hope if you are here, then you are participating. So please drop a comment, leave a topic of discussion if you want, or ask me something. I think it's a lot more fun that way for me when I'm watching a live stream, and hopefully for you tuning into my live stream. Charity Monster says, I've been suffering from DPDR for almost 4 years now, and I don't know what to do anymore. It's definitely not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there. Any suggestions? Yeah, Charity, I mean, the thing is, like, as someone who has chronic elements of his mental health problems, me, being that the case, I think the most important thing we can do is make sure that we are systematically and consistently trying new things and executing new game plans and holding ourselves really, really accountable and taking extreme ownership over everything we do. The lifestyle we live, the time we sleep, the water we drink, the food we eat, the people we spend time with, the physical practices we have, the professional help we are getting, the professional game plans we are implementing. I mean, the rabbit hole is vast, and so I think what can get overwhelming for a lot of people, definitely myself, is feeling like you're doing everything but not really doing anything particularly well. And I'm not saying that you are that person. I'm saying that more for myself, where I can get in streaks of doing things pretty well, but sometimes to have like really profound benefits of XYZ, you have to be really, really methodical, and you have to be really thorough. And when I start getting hopeless or wondering why certain things aren't going my way, or why it's taking so long to stop obsessing, or I wonder if I'll always be depressed, I kind of have to go back to step one and be like, how thorough are you being, truly? Can you say beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are doing and controlling everything you can? And then the other thing to keep in mind for all of us, I certainly think, is that science is evolving. Treatment plans are evolving. New things are being discovered. There's always hope. I have to believe that. I don't know what I would do. Hey, I like that, by the way you set up the bathroom.
Oh, good.
It's cool. There's always hope. Coffee.
Okay.
Okay, we have another super chat from Hugo Velasco. It's a $4 super chat. It says, thank you for your channel. Hugo, thank you very much for the super chat. It's incredibly wonderful of you to do that. It means a lot to me. And please, Hugo, if you have a topic of discussion or a direction you want the conversation to go towards, or a question for me, ask it. But otherwise, just know that I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Jenny Bergerson says, hi Noah, praying for you every day so you can stay sober as long as I have. I'm on my 26th year now. Wow. Jenny, that is so cool. I truly can't imagine. I don't even want to, because it's too far away, but that's really, really cool. You've been sober since I was 6. No, 5. You've been sober since I was 5. So that's pretty impressive and really cool. So thank you for sharing that and for praying for me. I appreciate it. Gems, diamond paintings, and more. If you find yourself relapsing into a bad depressive episode, do you find there is anything you can do to keep it from going into a full-blown episode? I mean, other than like digging into the basics, I think the one thing I can do when I'm worried things are perhaps progressing worse is to make sure I'm communicating that to my leadership team. And there's a difference between, in my opinion, there's a difference between complaining to, whining about, fretting over, and clearly and just directly communicating as like a point of observation, a point of concern. I try to make sure that my leadership team, which I feel everyone needs to have, okay? Everyone needs to have some form of leadership team. It doesn't have to be a medical health professional either. It can just be a support system, for example. It can be, I don't know, books, but some kind of leadership team. I just make sure I'm really actively communicating and then making adjustments where necessary. And then buckling down on the basics. Everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody could hone in and tighten up on the basics. Basics being meditation practices, diet, lifestyle, goal setting, stuff like that. Basics. Complicated but simple. Yummy. Let's see. Castro says, thank you. I was on a cocktail of medications after coming back from Iraq. 14 weeks ago, I went on TRT after watching your vids, and now life is back, so thank you. That's so cool. Thank you for your service, and I'm so glad you're feeling better, dude. Benny Boom says, I've been on Klonopins for over a year now, and they work great, but I'm scared to be on these meds for too long, and thinking of the withdrawal sucks to think about. Yeah, I was someone who started to become a bit reliant at one time on Klonopin, and that fear of withdrawal, dependence, and then for me personally, this is not me projecting on you, but for me personally, knowing that my head wasn't in the right space, I personally was starting to abuse them. I wasn't using them as needed anymore, but I was using them to like deal with hangovers and or just escape a bit. I chose to come off, and there were some withdrawal symptoms. So I would just make sure, Benny, that you are using them under the supervision of somebody who knows better. That's for sure. And then otherwise, if they're really working for you and they're part of your action plan, that's between you and your provider. So do what's best for you. Holly Davidson, I just got bumped. Excuse me, guys. Holly Davidson says, yes, so true, wonderful. Holly Butt says, hi man, appreciate your videos, thank you. Or Holy Butt maybe, so that's funny. Marjorie Randolph, one of my faves, just saying hi. Jesse too, love you guys. Inspiration, $1.99 super chat from Marjorie. Babe, a wonderful subscriber. You're not Babe, you're Andy. Is Jesse up here?
Yeah, she's naked.
Oh.
I'm not naked.
Jess, subscriber named Marjorie, says hi to you and sends love to you.
Oh, I love Marjorie. She always says hi to me.
Yeah, she's really sweet. She's like really nice. Thank you, Marjorie. Castro says no more psych meds. Good for you, man. Mirza Fadik says, Noah, you are very inspirational. Keep on being strong. Have you ever experienced breathing obsessions, like being overly aware of it? Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes. The breathing obsession, the air hunger feeling, the tightness in my chest. Oh, my gosh. That is something I've experienced so many times. Knock on wood, I haven't experienced it for quite some time. I'm pretty good at mindfulness in my breathing. Breathing, guys, not to patronize you, but breathing is an autonomic function. It just means that we do it whether or not we think about it. But as someone like me, and apparently you too, Ms. Mirza, is that we can become overly aware of our breath, and then we can start to obsess on our breath. And usually what happens is we end up taking too many breaths. I can already feel myself doing it. It's so funny. And so what I might suggest for you, this is something that if you've been around this channel, you're like, here he goes again. He's constantly suggesting this. But square breathing is a really good way to calm that. I think that's called your parasympathetic state, right? That fight or flight. Calm it. So if you do some square breathing, please feel free to look it up. It'll be useful to getting you out of that fight or flight mode, especially when it comes to focusing on your breath. It'll get you back to a better state. But yes, oh my gosh, I look back on my channel, search something like trouble breathing or chest pain, big no-no, and you're gonna see me talk about it when it was happening. Super sick, very upsetting. Rob R says, ever notice how when you're drinking it feels you can't quit or so impossible? How do you get that way when you give the drinking up? Let me read that again because I read it too broken up. So Rob says, ever notice how when you're drinking it feels you can't quit or so impossible? How do you get that way where you give the drinking up? So for me, when it comes to like my story with alcohol, it's always sort of been one of those things where I use alcohol as a coping mechanism, and I control it, relatively speaking, for a while. Then it starts to take control of me a lot more than I could ever, with any honesty, say I was controlling it. And then I start drinking more impulsively, and then I feel like I'm a bit out of control. Then I get uncomfortable. Then I start getting consequences. Then I start binging out more. Then I start gaining weight. Then I start feeling depressed. Then I start withdrawing from family. Then blah blah blah. A laundry list of consequences start, and then I get desperate, and when I get desperate or in enough pain, I tend to try to get sober. So some people are able to just identify that something's going wrong. They see a pattern in their behavior and they're just like, this is wrong, this doesn't feel good, I'm going to move away. The consequences are outweighing the pros for alcohol. Guy like me, I meant to do that, but I just couldn't, right? Just like you're talking about, it was just too powerful. So what I ended up doing was in moments of desperation asking for help. And then what I found was that sometimes that's not enough. And so what really ends up being the case for a lot of us is we get these fleeting moments to act, fleeting moments where we think clearly amidst very insane behavior like being an active alcoholic. And it's really important to honor those moments. Now, I don't know what that will look like for you, but for me it was like, oh shit, I might wind up killing someone in a car accident or throwing my marriage away, or I was having physical problems. You know, I'm going to have, what was I really afraid of for a while there? I was afraid of something I just, you can stop digging anytime. I've lost my train of thought. I am surely babbling, but if you have a moment of clarity, reach for it, ask for help, and save yourself, my friend. Save your own life. Excuse me, I was just peeking at something. Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Where are we? Trevor Lanyon says, pure OCD, how do you deal with when girlfriend wants to watch horror movies? Horror movies. I'm not entirely sure I understand that question. I believe I am someone who suffers from pure OCD, which is just the obsessive aspect of obsessive compulsive disorder. For me, it manifests in looping certain thoughts and ideas that are troubling, that make me question my sense of wellness, my sense of self-esteem, my sense of identity in this world. I'll loop a thought that upsets me, and then I'll hold on to it. And I'm in the middle of one right now that I'm managing okay at the moment, but it can get away from me, and I'm constantly working on it through breathing practices, through being of service to others, through setting boundaries, to understanding triggers, to not behaving in certain ways that can be more compulsive. But for you, pure OCD, how do you deal with it when your girlfriend how about this, Trevor? What's one of the aspects of, if you don't mind breaking your anonymity on that, what's one of the aspects that you obsess about? Are you obsessed about something to do with horror movies? Do they just scare you? Because that's not what I obsess about. Rochelle TC, what would you say led up to your last relapse on alcohol? So apparently I had a sponsor in a 12-step program. A sponsor is someone who just watches over you and helps take you through the 12 steps of that 12-step program. And after partially doing what was suggested in that 12-step program back in 2015, when I was sober at the time for almost 2 years, I was struggling with depression, struggling with anxiety, really struggling with obsession and rumination, and again, not really going all in on my recovery program. So I was left with this space of restless irritability, and I wasn't feeling well. And what I told my sponsor at the time, according to him, was that if I was going to feel depressed, if I was going to feel anxious anyway, I might as well drink. So I put a timetable on being sober, which was my biggest mistake. I was like, okay, if I get sober and I don't feel really, really good and life isn't just humming, I'll go back to drinking. I mean, I didn't verbally say that, but I clearly felt it deep down, because when it was time to dig into the realities of being sober, mental health issues that I clearly struggle with, and what it means to be a responsible adult in this world, I couldn't handle it. I cracked. And so alcohol remained the only solution I really truly depended on and trusted, despite the pain and suffering it caused me. But what ended up happening this last time, which is something they talk about a lot in the rooms, 12-step rooms, and in the community of sobriety, is that it's a progressive illness. It's a progressive disease. And so as such, it got worse for me. So this last time I was drinking got worse, and by the end of it, I was a mess. So I had to come crawling back in. I got lucky enough to come back. All right. Rob R says, when's the last time you drank? The last time I drank was April 10th of 2018. Strawberry Cosmonaut. What differences have you noticed since now and your early 20s, mainly in reference to addiction? I'm curious as to whether your addictive tendencies started then. So, that's a great question. So, Strawberry. That's a really good question. My addictive tendencies started when I was pretty young. I always had a slightly escapist mindset. I loved feeling different than the way I actually felt. But it was in my early 20s that was the first time I became more aware of how insecure I was, how uncomfortable I felt, and how poor my self-esteem was. And at that time, I had no tools. So I think the biggest difference in terms of addiction is back then, I didn't really understand how things correlated. I didn't understand how they played in terms of sleep, in terms of the people I spent time with, in terms of the foods I ate, in terms of the realities of my drinking. How I didn't really know what I was masking. I was less aware, and so I was more aimlessly getting drunk all the time. I was more aimlessly gaining weight and eating a lot of food. I was more aimlessly hanging out with people who let's just say were low bottom friends, friends that were there for casual, passive relationships, not meaningful ones. And as I've gotten older, I've been able to connect more of the dots. I've been able to make more, to have a deeper understanding of what aspects of life impact others. So it hasn't always saved me. Knowledge begets itself. Knowing is not enough typically, but it has lent itself well. The increased learning, the more awareness, the getting older, to finally putting the pieces together and be oh, this all ties together. When I do this, this happens, and these are the consequences. Just being more mindful. Being more mindful is the biggest thing, is where I'm not like, I know what's happening a bit more now, and it empowers me, but it again usually isn't enough to save me, because I know a lot of people that are getting smarter as they get older, but their behavior wouldn't reflect as much. Did that make sense? I don't know. I hope so. That's a really good question. It's one that I'd like to chew on and make a formal video about. Okay, so we have a question from Nunya Biz. It's a dope avatar. Currently feeling chest pain. I guess from anxiety. Been dealing with it for over a month. Oh, I feel for you so much. Oh, it saddens me to hear, because I know that space. I know that space. And not to patronize you, but one thing you might do is just try meditative practices, mindfulness practices, relaxation techniques. I mean, you need to calm down. You need to calm your body down. That's what I do daily. I have daily meditation practices, even when I'm not particularly activated, like you sound like you are right now, but it's like, it's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So check out I did a video that might be helpful to you recently on the only way I'll be able to meditate. Look back a couple videos, but it's something I do every day, which is meditating in the shower. Maybe that can calm you down and soothe you. But otherwise, just look into everything you can on how you can relax. Holistic ways to relax. From getting out in nature to foods that can be activating, such as added or processed carbohydrates, added sugar, which just tends to ramp up the body, very inflammatory. I don't want to get off on a rabbit hole, but I care about you. I'm sorry. That's for sure. Sorry. I don't say sorry very often either. Okay. Omir Eldib says, hey Big No, I recently started using CBD oil and it's helped me tremendously with anxiety and ADHD. That's funny. And I really recommend you try it. I appreciate the recommendation, and it's something that honestly a lot of people have recommended to me, and it seems really reasonable to try that. It really does. For whatever reason, I just continue to hold a tremendously fearful attitude towards anything external, entering, eating or taking or applying anything that's like not already in me. Now, I don't think I have the most healthy outlook on that. I think I have some PTSD over what happened to me during my mental breakdown. But I'm really, really glad that that's working for you, and I do think it's a viable option for a lot of people, perhaps even me down the road. I don't feel ready to do that right now, but I think it's important that I stay open to it. Strawberry Cosmonaut says, as mine have started recently, it's a weird and confusing period of life, and I love watching your videos for comfort and therapy. So thank you. You're welcome. And if there's anything I want to be able to accomplish is to comfort those that need some comforting, because everybody needs that. It seems to be something I can do from sharing my experience. So I'm really glad for that. Rasmus A says, hello Noah, nice to see you again. How's it going? Rasmus, is going okay today. It's good to see you here on my live stream. Today it's going okay, but I'm not going to lie, guys. It's been a tough few weeks with mental health stuff. I've been ruminating at such an extreme clip lately. I've been finding that removing all added sugar from my life leads to a greater sense of depression, hopelessness, and pure obsession. And when I consume a bunch of processed sugar, the obsessions get better for a time. So I've been really trying to figure out what the connection is there. Is it a dopamine issue? I don't know. But for right now, I'm feeling okay, and I'm really thankful for that. I got to do hot yoga today for the first time. It almost made me cry. It was crazy. So I feel like I want to make a video about that. But thank you for asking, and I'm sending the question right back to you. How are you today? Sario Williams, hey Noah, it's been a while. Good to see you, bro. Sario, so good to see you too, man. So good to see you too. Rob R, does your girlfriend still drink, Noah? So my wife has never really drank. I mean, I guess if I treat her like my girlfriend, she gonna stay my wife forever. But no, my wife Jessie's not a drinker, so she's like a once every few months, if there's a special occasion, drinker. When I was a drinker, and since I've not drank since I've been sober, she hasn't touched substance. Period. She's a normie in that way. Thank God. Heba Fat Cry says, hello Noah, I love your beard, by the way. Thank you. I don't have the most lush plush beard on earth, but boy do I try. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Mom Life with Telly, do you recommend or ever tried and succeeded in natural remedies for depression and anxiety? Yeah, see, I definitely am one of those people that thinks we can't leave anything on the table, so I certainly believe I've had some benefit, and I've benefited, excuse me, from natural things. I think if you go straight to pharmaceutical things or drastic treatments before exercising all of the natural things that are known to be good for you, then you're missing out on something that could be very helpful with minimal side effects. So yeah, I could recommend a million things. I mean, I think sleep is one of the hugest things to focus on. I think you need to learn everything you can about sleep, how to optimize it, what things are taking away from your sleep, and then honor these recommendations. A great book you can read is Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. It's a book I read in the last couple of months, and for whatever reason, I'm fighting some of the recommendations. I still need to deep dive that more, but I've implemented a handful of them, and they've been great. So look into sleep, absolutely. Make sure that you're drinking enough water. Make sure you don't have any thyroid issues or hormone issues, which you can identify through a blood draw. Make sure that you have a healthy support system and relationships in your life. I mean, God. The crazy thing, and I'll before I rant and ramble, the crazy thing in my opinion about natural remedies is they are going to be as powerful as you allow them to be. If you minimize them, if you downplay them, if you discard them, then so shall they be, right? Not very instrumental. But if you believe, if you truly, truly put your belief into these small, nuanced things that you're doing to feel better, and you give them the respect they deserve, whether it be all scientific and or some placebo, you're going to get some powerful change out of them. I probably just said a lot without saying anything, but long story long, I believe in them very much, and I have to, otherwise I kind of feel helpless. And all of us need to take charge of the things we can. I mean, what do we have if not ourselves to take care of us, right? I mean, lean on support, but yeah, take ownership over your wellness and control everything you can with tremendous bravery. Okay. Annie Lenhart says, "You are my hero." Babe!
Yeah?
Annie says I'm her hero.
Wait, what?
Annie says that I'm her hero.
Hero?
No, I'm her hero.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're my hero, too.
Oh, my wife says I'm her hero too. I can be everybody's hero because y'all my heroes too. I think all of us need to be heroes for the people in our lives. And the way you can become a hero is just to take really good care of yourself and don't be a dick. Best advice I've given all day. No, thank you for that comment. Max, let me make sure I don't have any super chats. I do, excuse me. Jen's Diamond Paintings and More gave me a $5.49 super chat. I think it's a Canadian one. Thank you so much, Jen. It says, thank you for sharing your experiences and videos. Yeah, thank you for letting me. I'm so grateful that you're here, all of you. And thank you for supporting this channel with that super chat. And for all of you for being here, spending time with me. Make no mistake about it, you guys. You're making my life better. I can't even tell you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Where are we, guys? Max Beeman says, "Hey dude, thanks for all your videos. How do you get confidence to talk to people and go places? Were you ever not social? And if so, how did you break out of it?" I've always been, I want to be perfectly honest, I've always been pretty social. I've always been pretty outgoing. I've always been pretty good at going into new environments and just carrying myself with pride and with a fair bit of confidence, even when I felt quite insecure and sometimes still do. I seem to have a good instinct for how to do that. But that being said, I do believe being social, meeting people in those environments and being comfortable in your own skin, or at least acting like you are, is a bit of a skill that you can develop. I'm not going to try to pick apart what I think is the most important thing here, but I do believe it can be done. And if there's one simple thing that pops into my head that I'll leave you with, Max, is that it does take practice. And really all you have to do is ask people questions about themselves. If you go into social environments and you're just determined to ask people about them, and then try to wear a smile on your face or just lightness in your eyes, even when maybe there's nothing to be said, it can really help. So remember, if you're worried about silence, if you're worried about it being awkward, or if you're worried about what they're thinking, everyone's thinking about themselves anyway. They're all in the same boat as you. Some people are just a little better at it, and you can just ask them about them. People love talking about themselves, and if they're half decent people, they'll start asking you questions about you too. But always be humble and kind, and know that you can get good at that. Rasmus A says, getting closer and closer to 100,000. You deserve much more. Dude, I'm grateful for whatever I have. It is pretty crazy, you guys. I was talking to my wife about this. So I am coming up on a YouTube milestone of 100,000 subscribers, and I'm so thankful for that. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy for me to think about, especially you guys, consider this. I started this channel in 2012 very randomly. Some of you know my origin story, perhaps a lot of you don't, but had a big mental breakdown, flipped open my computer when I found out that I had like no testosterone in my body. And I was like, maybe I'll check in once a week. I'm suicidal, depressed, anxious, depersonalized, but I just found out I have low testosterone, maybe I'll get help. And a year later, or maybe it will help, and maybe someone can reach out to me and we can support each other. Anyway, a year after I started this channel, guys, I had 1,000 subscribers. And I was so happy about that. Not because I was trying to make a living doing this, or I thought this was like a calling or whatever. I didn't know what this was, but just knowing that there's 1,000 people out there who I felt like were part of my little YouTube family just made me feel safe, made me feel good, and I was just so grateful and excited. It was a big deal to me. So I remember thinking back then, and I'll be done with this rant, but I remember thinking back then, so it took me a year to get 100,000, and I wasn't thinking clearly on the snowball effect and the compound effect of YouTube at the time. I just didn't have the wherewithal. What's that, Jess? No. Oh, did I just say that? Okay. Good share. Thank you. Good correction. My wife's staying on top of me, making sure I speak clearly. Anyway, it took me a year to get 1,000. I may have said 100,000. And I remember thinking, oh, it'll take 100 years to get 100,000. Oh, cool, I'll be dead. Well, cool. Then a lifetime goal will be 100,000. So I can't believe it just took me 35 minutes to explain that, but I will be, hopefully, perhaps accomplishing a lifetime goal if I can get to that 100K, which will be fun. In this weird new era of social media and YouTubers, I'm grateful to be one of them. Heba Fekri says, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, says, a loud shout out to Dr. Paul. I will make sure he knows. I'll be seeing him in just a little bit. We have a family dinner at 7 downtown. Thank you for that. And Benny Boom says, I've been thinking about taking L-theanine, 5-HTP, and lithium orotate to help with depression and anxiety. Have you tried any of these? And what are your thoughts on them? I have tried some of these at various times. I know that they are precursors to a lot of important amino acids and or precursors, right, to neurotransmitters that are very important. So I certainly don't think they could hurt. I'm not here to advise you, nor could I, especially on dosages or what to expect or side effects or anything like that. I personally take L-tyrosine as a precursor for dopamine, which I believe is something I suffer from, is downregulated dopamine. But do your homework, and yeah, it's good for you to explore these things, that's for sure. But I don't have any like formal thoughts on what you should be doing. I have to be careful with that. But I do empower everyone to dig into their wellness. So I hope you find some relief there. Rob R, did you ever get angry drinking? I do. I think I did. I think I used to tell myself that I don't get angry or I never did get angry, but I've been reflecting lately on some times where I threw little tantrums, got temperamental, or I behaved in a way that I wasn't very proud of, and I think there was some anger in there. But I wasn't like an angry drinker. I don't think anyone would describe me as someone who like would drink and look out, he's going to start saying what he's really thinking. But I think I have behaved that way when I like couldn't deal with confrontation while drinking. Cherry Monster says, thank you. I've been subscribed for a while now, and you always manage to give me hope. Keep it up, Noah. We appreciate you. Thank you, Cherry. Max Avalar says, hey, on your low T, did you have issues with producing semen? Yeah, so guys, if you take exogenous testosterone, which I do to treat my low testosterone as diagnosed by my medical care provider via blood draw, it will impact your fertility big time. Oof. It will impact your fertility big time. And what is going on with my her? No. Nope, we're going back on. Not ready. Not confident enough. Okay. So yeah, I have no active swimmers. That's what I'm trying to say. Randy R says, I had to try one of these one day. What? Oh, Randy, I lost you. Randy R says, I should... Randy R says, I should try one of these one day. Would have to be when other half isn't here. Have one quick question. Are you open-minded? Hope we have been help to each other. I am open-minded, Randy, and I have to be. I feel like I have to be. And yeah, of course you've been of help to me. Absolutely. Thank you. Holly Davidson, at Benny Boom, checkout point of return for withdrawal. At Benny Boom, checkout point of return for withdrawal. Good luck. I think I'm reading that right. Good luck, Holly. Randy R says, I'm totally alone, still over 90% of the time. Have signed up for new grief class. Good for you, Randy. Good for you for doing that. Castro says, thanks, man. You're welcome, boss. Rasmus A says, I have a hard time stay in the present moment. I keep imagining the worst case scenario and make me suicidal because that worst case scenario makes my life not worth living. Not sure what to do. You know, I really, really understand that. As someone who deals with rumination and obsession, it seems at times, no matter how hard I try and how healthy I try to deal with these things, I loop the same worries, fears anyway, and I try not to engage in them and behave in them, but they do lead to a depressive feeling, and then I too tend to think suicidal thoughts fast when I get uncomfortable. Now, I'm in no fear, knock on wood, of acting on them, because I'm pretty used to them, but they never came prior to my breakdown, and they're really upsetting now. And I think all any of us can do, like I kind of said earlier, I don't know how long, Rasmus, you've been kicking it or if you're still here, but all we can do is keep trying and make sure that we're not doing the same things expecting different results. So, your hair's getting long, Andy.
I'll just cut it.
There's a trick. Question. There's a trick. Yeah, just keep fighting and don't give up, Rasmus. Just don't give up. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I like to tell myself that future me will be grateful for the hard work that current me is doing to be healthy and to be well. And we never know what's coming around the next corner. It could be something really beautiful, and I just have to believe that's possible, and I hope you do too. Okay. Forgive me. Rob R says, hey Noah, you skipped me. Did I? I hope I didn't, Rob. I'm gonna look back. Yeah, I saw you there. I got you, boss. I got you. Lucas Chase says, what is your and your dad's favorite Christmas movie? I'm probably gonna say something like, I think my dad's favorite Christmas movie is probably Home Alone, because it's like a lot of his kids' favorite Christmas movie, so we wind up watching it every year. It's a classic. I think my favorite Christmas movie is probably Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That, or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, or Die Hard. But I really find myself wanting to watch Jingle All the Way and just laugh my ass off. I just think Arnold is so funny in that movie, and Sinbad. Put that cookie down! Ashley Phillips, how do you control the negative thoughts that go along with anxiety and depression? Ashley, I don't control them. I get whooped by those thoughts still. It is one of the weirdest, most difficult things. But rather than try to control them, what I do try and do is stick to my action plan, right? My daily meditation, my gratitude journals, my exercise practices, my healthy eating regimen, my water, my supplements, my homework with my therapist. I just try to stay really busy, and I try not to read into them. I think one of the most important things I can do is to just, I can't stop them, but I can influence them, and I cannot react. And for me, reacting is just investigating and trying to figure out the truth in it. I don't believe I'm capable or equipped right now to come up with any deeper meaning for these thoughts. I think these thoughts, I tell myself this at least, these thoughts are a product of depression. They're a product of a mental health issue. They are not reflective of who I really am, who I'm intended to be, who I was when I was born, type of thing. So, but they're uncomfortable. I haven't gotten too much better at dealing with that discomfort sometimes, it feels. Because they just like, you conquer them, so to speak, and then you forget how you conquered them. And then you just start obsessing again over the same thing that you already kind of thought you worked out. There's deep grooves in the brain, I think, when it comes to that stuff. John Fisher, excellent channel. Thank you for all that you do. Thanks, John. Randy R. I've been using clozapam for the neurology disorders. Only one of two things that helps with the twitching. Does nothing to help anxiety. I did make it to the meditation garden today. Good for you, man. Thank you for sharing, Randy. And good for you for making it there. The Joker, love your videos, bro. Much love from Amsterdam. That's cool. And thank you, man. I appreciate that. And much love right back from Beaverton. Roma Meta, hi, happy Sunday. Hey, Roma. How are you? Are you still doing your studies? Or are you done with that? Eric Elaste says, what you resist persists. Amen. Jenny Bergerson, since I started following you on Instagram, you and your wife have inspired me to decide to start going to the gym in January and get fit. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Jenny, I suggest that you go into that with just the idea that you're going to show up and leave expectation at the door. Don't put stipulations on it. Just show up. I think it's a really important part of my mental health, and it happens to be really good for my physical health as well. It's really kind of you to say, and I wholeheartedly support that. I don't know what I would do without my daily exercise. Excuse me, guys. Oh, no, that's awful. Sorry, guys. Okay. Me?
Oh, no.
Okay. Ralphie's Girl 124 says, I've practiced the square breathing you recommended on one of your funny situation videos, but seriously, it has helped me so much. I even spread the love and shared with friends. Awesome. It helps 100%. Yeah, square breathing is crazy, right? It works so well. I remember doing a little square breathing from time to time here or there, and then I was in the hospital trying not to have a panic attack. I was like, oh yeah, square breathing. I used it. It stopped the panic attack, and from that day forward, I was like, oh damn, this is a lot more than just a cute thing to do when you're stressed. Like this will save you. Guys, 6 minutes and I have to bounce there somewhere. I have to be at 7 downtown. So we got 6 minutes left together. And know that if I don't get to your question, I really appreciate the fact that you guys are here. And we'll do this again next Sunday, okay? Let's see if I can speed up the pace a little bit. Mirza Fatic says, thank you so much for answering my question. God bless. I will be in touch. I look forward to it. Gabriel LeMay Landry says, hey, I was diagnosed with hypogonadism 2 years ago. I was very depressed and suicidal. I want you to know that what helped me the most during that time was your videos on the subject. It's beautiful. I would love for you to do a recap on your current protocol and everything. Yeah, I should do that, and I'm really glad to know that something I did helped you. I really, really am glad. That sort of thing gives me meaning when I'm feeling worthless or bad about myself or dealing with self-esteem issues. I remember that I can, even as someone who struggles with depression, even as someone who deals with anxiety and all these things, I can still be of service. I can still be of value. And I think that's one of the things that leaves us quick when we're depressed is just any sense of usefulness, or we end up comparing ourselves to other people, and we're just not good enough. And I think a lot of people, I mean, that's not true, but that's what we think. And a lot of people deal with that. So anyway, thank you. Composite bad guy. No, you're the man. How can I be the man when you're the man? That's the real question. Randy Zimmerman. A bunch of emojis. Great emojis. I love them. Thank you, Randy. Anthony Gerard says, sup dude, day 3 TRT and finally in ketosis, 240 pounds from 180 4 years ago. Medics were my culprit. All my uncles got fat and lazy at 30. And glad you started your TRT. Sounds like you needed it. You're into ketosis, and some people that can be really profound. I hope you sustain your energy well as your body gets more adapted to using fat for energy. Yeah, and I hope this is just the beginning for you, dude. Really do. Shannon Lehman says, interested in hearing more about how you and your wife built your love and relationship back after depression. Dealing with that, my husband is depressed, broke a month ago, and doesn't feel anything. That's so tough, Shannon. That's a really, really big question. I've made a few videos on that topic that I feel perhaps could be some interest to you. Building back love after depression, that's hard, because something that my wife and I both realized, and this is a tough thing to really come to terms with, but we realized that we loved each other, but things got so dark and desperate and disconnected for so long that we kind of fell out of love. And we had to remember, I personally had to remember as I started to come to, is that love's an action step. And so we started putting direct action into our love. And when I was depressed and not doing well, she became more of a caretaker, and I became more of like a wounded infant or something. And she kind of had to accept that role for a while. But then as I got better, I tried to make sure that I took ownership over my part of the relationship. I think learning how to be independent in a relationship that tends to elicit codependency is really, really hard, but really important. For you, that might be making sure that your value isn't contingent upon the way he's treating you right now based on his breakdown. Because I know when I was in a breakdown, let's just say I wasn't all there. It's really, really hard though, and we built it up over time and over tremendous effort and patience, that's for sure. But I am happy to say that I don't know that we've ever been happier and more in love than we are right now. We had to really, really traverse some hard ground to get there. So I think it really came down to, last thing I'll say to you, because I feel like I could just process this question and try to think of a good answer for you for a long time, but I think it really comes down to how well are we willing to take care of ourselves to then be ready to mend the fences and take care of each other. I think one of the biggest problems early on was that I wasn't taking care of myself. I was in the middle of a breakdown. I was trying not to kill myself, quite frankly. And my wife didn't know what to make of me being suddenly gone like that. And so she wasn't taking very good care of herself. And ironically, a lot of people don't realize this, but when someone you love is struggling, one of the first things you need to do is make sure you're putting your own oxygen mask on first. It's like, what do I do when someone's hurting to help them? Help yourself twice as much. You need to be bolstered and strong, and you need to fill your own cup. And so I just hope you take really good care of yourself. I don't know if I'm making sense anymore, but it's a tough one. I should make another video on that. Benny Boom says, give this great man some thumbs up, people. Thanks, Benny. Major Havoc 44 says, I am OCD and trying to be perfect. Once you realize nothing is perfect, you can move on and accept that which is true. Oh, that's beautiful. I really, really like that. I really, really like that. Thank you for sharing. Jen's Diamond Paintings and more says, how do you know when it's time to reach out for help and that you're past the point you can keep your depression under control? I only found your channel recently and it's made me feel much less alone. I'd say this is the point. I think the point that you're contemplating it is the point where you should go ahead and ask for some help. Look, there's no, if you happen to ask for help and you didn't need it per se, what is the worst case scenario for you? What's the worst thing that can happen? You just got extra help. I'm one of those people that believes everybody needs leadership, guidance, and support. Everyone should not be running off of their own best thinking as their sole barometer for reality and for what's good and bad. So I think the moment you start contemplating, that's the moment you need to go ahead and ask for help. Guys, I do have to let you go. I was not able to get to every question, and I know that. I'm scrolling down and realizing I didn't get to everybody. I really do feel bad about that because you're here, you spent time with me. Excuse me for that, okay? Excuse me for that. I just don't have time. I have about 5-10 minutes to get dressed, and then I have to go to a family dinner, which is an annual thing down at the spaghetti factory here in Portland. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for hanging with me on this channel. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to try and be of some service to you at the same time. Just thank you. Just know that I appreciate you. I really am glad you guys spent this time with me on a Sunday night. Take good care of yourselves. Be brave if you're struggling, and go help someone if you're not. Maybe that could be dope. And enjoy your holidays. One day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. We absolutely can get through anything we're going through. We can do it together. I promise. My name is Noah, and just know that you guys are really appreciated. Adios.